Hi everyone, I'm BEKIMACHINE. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on compressors, how they work, and how you can use them to make your voice sound better when you're streaming, if you're doing a podcast. You could apply this to your voice for your YouTube videos, and also great compressor basics if you're getting started out in music. So some of you may already know that in streaming softwares like OBS, you can apply plugins to your voice, or in OBS they're called filters. So you can add these to either change your audio or apply effects to your voice. But before we dive into it, I just want to say that I do stream on Twitch every Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday. If you did want to come and hang out, do a variety of music and games. So firstly, I'm going to quickly show you how to add the filters to your OBS, just in case you've never done this before. And then I'm going to bring up the compressor in OBS. And then I'm also going to bring up another compressor plugin in my digital audio workstation called Logic Pro 10. And that compressor will essentially work in exactly the same way, but it's going to give you a visual diagram of what it's actually doing. And I'm going to talk you through each component of the compressor, just so you can get a better understanding of what it's actually doing to your voice. Because you might watch a video that tells you to do it and you'll like follow its effects, but you may not actually understand how it works. And I think it will be useful to know. For me, I'm a visual person. When I look at the OBS compressor, I'm just like, oh, it's just words and sliders. But on a visual compressor, you've got like knobs, you've got a graph, you know, you can see the audio working away, and I just think it might be useful for you to see that. So firstly, let's just show you quickly how to apply a compressor to your voice in OBS. Try not to let this bit confuse you. We're just looking at this box down here, this bit. On your audio mixer, you're going to probably have two channels. You're going to have your desktop audio channel, which is going to be the output of your computer. And then your second channel will most likely be your input, which will be your microphone. This is my mic input here. I've got my signal going in. So if you click the settings button here and then select filters, you're gonna see nothing. This will not be here. In the bottom left here, you're gonna click add and then compressor, and you can just click OK. I'm gonna just say compressor YouTube. I have also brought up another compressor, which is Logic Pro's just standard compressor. That over there. Right, we can get them on the screen. Look, we can get them on there. So on the left you can see OBS's compressor, and on the right we can see Logic Pro's compressor. Don't let the interface intimidate you. I'm going to go through and we're going to speak about each component one by one in a simple way. You can already see it start to do its job, but we've got a kind of a visual diagram here of what's going on with my voice. So I've just matched my OBS settings to my Logic Pro settings. I've made them all the same so that we can see visually exactly what should be happening on our OBS compressor. So let's start by talking about compression. What is compression? So when you apply compression to an audio signal, it's going to work to reduce the dynamic range of that signal. So that means it's going to take the loudest point and the quietest point and kind of squeeze them together. And it's going to try and level out the signal so it's a more consistent level throughout the recording. So let's go through each component on OBS. We've got ratio to start with. So the ratio is the amount of compression that it's going to apply to the audio signal. So the higher the compression, the more it's going to apply. But it only applies it once the audio hits the threshold. Now we're going to go on to threshold in a sec, so just stay with me. So essentially the higher the ratio, the more the audio signal will be compressed. Now, we need to tell the compressor when we want it to start to work. And we do that by going to the threshold here. So at the moment, let's just set our ratio to 3 to start with, and we'll see how that sounds. I would say as we're focusing more on streams today, we're going to want to go for a high ratio, but we're going to start with 3 while we start tweaking all the settings. So, threshold. So the threshold tells the compressor how loud the audio signal needs to be before it starts applying the compression. If the threshold is set to 0, the compressor isn't going to do anything. We can see that nothing is happening in terms of compression. There's nothing being applied. Let's say we set it to -30. It's now going to start applying compression once my audio signal hits -30, which is pretty much all the time. So now that we've set the threshold to 30, and here. We can see the audio signal going in here, and we can see once it hits minus 30 dB, the compressor's starting to work. So we can see the graph going here. The meter is kicking in. Essentially, the lower the threshold, the more compression will be applied to the audio signal. I think that makes sense. I hope you're with me. Stay with me. Next, on our OBS signal, we have the attack. What the attack does is it tells the compressor how quickly to compress the signal once it hits the threshold. I would say for podcasts, you're probably going to want to use a faster attack, but definitely have a play. It does change the way your compressor sounds. We've set our attack to -5. It's probably going to make us sound like we're closer to the mic. If we set it to 200 ms, we can hear it. It's probably going to sound like we're a bit further away from the mic. But I would say between 10 and 20 should be a good amount to kind of play with. The release is next. So the release is how long it will take the compressor to stop compressing the audio signal once it's past the threshold. The quicker the release, the quicker the compressor is going to stop working. The longer the release, the longer it's going to take for the compressor to stop working. It will mean the compressor will stop working in like a more smooth way. This is quite useful in music. The attack and release in music can play a big part in making things stand out or sit a bit further back in the mix. I'd say for VO, streaming and YouTube, you can probably get away with a relatively fast attack and release just because we want like a more consistent level of VO throughout a recording. So now that we've compressed our signal, we've got the output gain. Basically what this does is, if we see this graph here, we can see how much our audio signal has been compressed by. Each one of these units is a dB, and it's kind of sitting between the 3 and 5 mark. So I may want to increase my makeup by 3 dB. Obviously I've got louder now. I don't really need to do that today, but output gain or makeup gain basically makes up for the loss of dB that you've had when compressing a signal. Don't need to worry about these bits. This isn't relative to today. So that's the OBS compressor. We could even increase the ratio even more so that we get like a more level signal. I can actually see here that my signal's pretty consistent, which I think is important when you're streaming, especially if you're playing a horror game and you're going to be screaming a lot. You don't want to blow the ears off your viewers, you know. And I think it's important just to consider your viewer experience as well. You want your audio to be nice to listen to, and you may not have the best audio equipment, but you can take steps to better your audio. This includes things like compressors, EQ, depop, denoise, things like that. My plan is to give you a few more of these tutorial videos. I mean, there's plenty of tutorial videos out there, but I think as a visual person, I find it a lot easier when I can actually see things working. That's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope that was helpful and offered you a bit of insight into how compressors work and how you can use them to improve the audio quality of your stream. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have enjoyed this video, then please remember to like and subscribe. I am posting regularly now and giving out more music and audio related content, which I hope is useful to you. If you did want to chat to me off stream, I do have a Discord server. The link will be down in the description below. Yeah, I think that's it from me today. Let me know if you found this video helpful, and I will catch you next time, guys. Bye.